Hello again, it's Garson, and today, why are we having all these spells down here glowing? What's that all about? Enchantment? 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 Must mean we're talking about the Enchantment Wizard. And Wizard, I feel, is very misunderstood and somewhat underrated, especially for some of the subclasses like Enchantment. So I got a good request, and I'm down for it. You know why? Because any excuse to make Vicious Mockery into a monstrous cantrip, oh yeah, I'm for it. Okay, so we're going to take our bodyguard. She's got the Resonance Stone. You're steeped in bliss. You're steeped in bliss. Are you ready for this? So put up the numbers. We can actually hit 2 targets thanks to our level 10 enchantment school. Kaboom! Oh yeah. You ever see Vicious Mockery do over 50 damage? It was like 50 on the dot, right? Between the two. But that's not all. They have 4 turns of mental fatigue. Do you know what that means? Okay, check it out. So, Cambion boy over here, right? If we were to get a speed potion, check it out. We can get it from our bonus action in the inventory. So, if you fiendish charm somebody, they have to save themselves with a wisdom saving throw. These guys now have -4 to wisdom saving throws and disadvantage thanks to Steeped in Bliss, and they take double the psychic damage. So if you can do all this wombo combo right here, pop them with a nuke, 78 damage from the Cambion. Ooh, bet you never knew that. That is a powerful combo, holy crap. Now this isn't a monk video as much as I wish it was, but we do a little bit of psychic damage on our fist if we really need it. I don't think we do. Let's see what happens. Who are you gonna go after? The one with 16 armor class? That's what I thought, buddy. Now you can't attack me. Go pick somebody else. That's right. Uh-oh, you wouldn't want to attack her. Counterattack! Kaboom! Oh no, we're not done there. Ready? Let's keep moving. So, we can do double targets on single target enchantment spells. That's already pretty cool, right? So Lae'zel here, what she's gonna do is stand near these guys, give them all that same kind of, what do you call it? Disabled, right? So Steeped in Bliss is going to make it disadvantage on mental throws, right? So let's get the Cambion in position. Whoop, wrong Cambion. Come back. Alright, so we already know this combo works. We'll have him fly over here. Stay away from the volley stuff. But first, you know what I'll do? Let me see. Yeah. I'll give myself a haste potion. Okay. And I'm gonna hit these guys. You know why? Because I hate volley. Yep. I hate volley. Oh man. But I love volley when it's on my team, so we'll see if we can do something about that. Ready? Punch you. Oh, nice hit. Alright. Who are you gonna shoot? Me? Oh, that's funny. How about... no. Oh, interesting. He's just charmed by Minthara. Who hasn't been? Alright, let's go ahead and stun this robot. There we go. Perfect. Saved by the stun, or are you good? Ah, okay. Let's go for another stun. Perfect. Alright. No longer that dangerous. And we'll just put you here. What are you gonna go for? Ensnaring strike? Good try. You got disadvantage with somebody next to you, so that's not happening. Oh goody, it's my turn. Well, like I said, I hate volley when it's not on my team, but I love volley when it is on my team. Ready? So how about, because of the mental fatigue and the disadvantage, we just go ahead and put you on my team. There we go. Wonderful. Go ahead and speed up. This guy said, I don't want to be on your team. That's fine. Here we go. Oh, I already hastened. That's fine. So he doesn't want to be on my team. That's interesting. So what I can do, like I said, come over here. Don't want to be on my team, but you have mental fatigue. That's okay. That's okay. So let's go for another wombo combo. Charmed. And kiss him. Mwah. Beautiful. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, nice. You're hurting your buddy now. Oh, poor thing. Okay, so that's wonderful. Like I said, we'll just keep you in lockdown. Keep this perpetual torture. Yes, fight for me. And if you need to, die for me. Yeah, ensnare the little robot there. Perfect. Alright, can we get it again? Let's keep trying. Charm. Nope. Save the charm, huh? Well, I'll just bop you. Works for me. Alright. But you know what's funny is, we can always kill you in a moment. How about we can actually target 2 with Hold Monster. So for that expensive level 5 spell, I can actually get 2 targets now, which is great. Alright. And then I can also target 2 with Vicious Mockery. There we go, you're dead. Thanks for your services. Uh-oh. And then, if you're sitting there just waiting for me to kill you, well then... Perfect. Alright. Uh-oh. And if you're just sitting there waiting for me to charm you, well, I can help you out with that. Yep, little charm. Little kiss. Mwah. Oh yeah, that's my kind of build right there. That's disgusting. Oh yeah, more than an excuse to do tons of damage with the psychic moves. Oh man, but to get like double value out of hold spells or toshes or something, or even auto dance. Oh my gosh. So let's roll it back a bit. I'm gonna pull out the notes like usual. This one's pretty cool because we're talking about casting spells and enchanting people with the wizard subclass, the enchantment school. At level 2, you can choose it, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, and I'll go over the build in a little bit. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope that demo actually did a pretty good job at showing you how cool this is. It's not without its multi-class, but I did actually something similar with a pure level 12 when I was testing this. And real quick, just a shout out, I try to ask all the time. Lately, I've gotten some good recommendations, so here's one of them, right? So basically, Weiss basically asked, hey, I actually don't really like all the overpowered classes and stuff, and I humbly request that maybe Enchanter Illusion, little deep dive. I don't know about a deep dive, but you've helped me, encourage me to kind of like look at this stuff, and I love when this happens because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I was kind of interested in that too, and to know that somebody else is interested in it, yeah, I'll dive into it a little bit. I actually don't know everything about this, so bear with me, all right? This is what I figured out just from a little bit of testing for today, okay? So let's go over some notes. Basically, I'm going to talk about Wizard real quick, actually break down the enchantment class. I'm going to talk about the spell Charm, just the small details, and then these enchantment spells that you keep seeing glowing here, like some of the highlight ones, literally. And then just some personal or quick analysis, and I'll go over the build in detail, why I made these choices, and why it actually all kind of works together, okay? So, get ready for some chatting, as always, and let's get into Wizard real quick. So, there's something I want to say about Wizard. This isn't the Wizard video, but let's just go over some basics, some pretty like objective stuff about it, okay? So Wizard is a full caster. What I mean by this is the ability to get all the way up to level 6 spell slots, right? And that's actually very powerful, because what can you do with level 6 spell slots? You can obviously upcast to the highest level. This does some crazy damage. If you consider 848 doubled is kind of wild, okay? But you can also do some unique spells, but it also means you get these level 5 spell slots, right? And if you're mixing in a multi-class, it means you're going to get the capability of having spell slots in whatever you multi-class, right? So those are some factors to think of. But Wizard's specialty is they use the intelligence stat and this ability to learn scrolls, right? And so even if you didn't learn it on level up, thanks to this ability, if you find a scroll that a wizard can learn, just about all of them, right? You can add some more spells to your repertoire. And I feel that this is so powerful because what people don't get about Wizard is it's more versatile than just about any other spellcaster, okay? Other spellcasters are great. You could argue they're better, okay, because they come with the spells they need, or you can just pick the ones that actually you think matter or matter to your build, right? But in my opinion, the more and more I learn about this game, thanks to ideas like, hey, can you talk about this subclass? Then I learn something more about it. I'm like, yeah, I would love to have a wizard because then I could get this, or I could put this on a multi-class. Let's talk about one other thing I'm doing currently in a run where I only have one dip in wizard, right? But I'm going to get other spell slots from the multi-class. It's Ranger, right? So overall, I'll be able to get up to level 3 spell slots, but that one dip in Wizard allows me to learn any level 3 spell that a wizard can learn from scrolls and use them, right? So like, this is crazy, and it's a unique trait that's like what wizards are really all about, and brings that versatility that I was talking about. Now, something else about the versatility is, just for reference, you can take these spells off. Like if I'm not going to use Find Familiar or Longstrider, I can pop them off, and I can put maybe Blindness, or if the situation needed it, instead of Blindness, I could have taken, say, Arcane Lock, and that could have been good for my strategy of locking someone out of a room and making a fight 10 times easier. It's all about what you know, which I think really plays into the wizard playstyle, okay? Because not only can I swap these spells out, but I can learn more, and the more I know about what these potential spells can do, I can really customize and make my wizard very versatile and resilient. Okay, but the other side of the versatility is these subclasses. They come in at level 2. I don't think they're all very fairly balanced, but who cares about balance? What can it actually do? Is it useful? Is it good? Let's actually get into enchantments. When you go to level 2, your wizard is going to let you choose a subclass, a school, if you will. There's a cool one coming up in patch 8 called Bladesinger. A lot of people know about evocation, some of the tricks with abjuration, but I feel enchantment is one of these lesser known or lesser experimented with, and I'm trying to show you how powerful it can be if you understand what's really good about spellcasters is control. Okay, so control is a huge element, and that's what enchantment's really all about. In fact, there's outside and inside combat details we're going to focus on here. But just one of the things you actually get is at level 2, when you choose the subclass, right? The enchantment spells that you can learn, right? Sort of like, what is it? Hold Person, Hold Monster are enchantment spells. They would be cheaper to learn if you didn't already pick them up through leveling. Or if you found like a Scroll of Madness, you want to use it more than once. Instead of burning the scroll, you can learn it, and you can learn it for a little green price. Instead of like 50, I think it's 75 or 50. Or instead of 100, it'd be like 75 or 50, right? So that can actually save you a little bit. I don't think it's the greatest benefit in practice, but it's just something to note. Hypnotic Gaze is your actual like cool class action ability. So if you just took 2 levels in this, this is what you get, okay? So what it does is you can charm and incapacitate a creature. It cannot attack you. It cannot act. This is the incapacitate power of this, right? What's crazy about this is if you nail the wisdom saving throw, you can maintain this for 2 more turns. So once you land this, you can keep stun locking somebody basically for 2 turns, 2 turns, 2 turns. But they have to be charmed as far as I understand it. And it's within melee range, action, and you only get this once per long rest. I wish this would upgrade, but sadly it's just what it is, right? So like I said in the notes, it's a class action, not a spell, which does kind of matter for certain things, right? It charms and incapacitates people, which is the real crazy power of this. It'll last 2 turns, but what's crazy is you can reset it for 2 more turns if you're willing to spend an action, okay? And then it's a long rest ability, so once you use it, plan it wisely. This could be considered a very powerful spell in and of itself if it's used correctly, but it is a wisdom saving throw, which means you're basing this off of your intelligence spell save DC, okay? So it ends if they're damaged, because at the end of the day, it's a charm, okay? And we're going to talk about charm a little bit more in detail, the spell and what the condition is, but we'll go on to level 6. So you saw me use my reactions, right? If we go over to not illicit powers but reactions here in the spell book, so I have a few reactions. Right now I just want to talk about this one. Where is it? Instinctive Charm. So I'll put it up on the screen for you. In my notes, this is a little bit easier to understand than what they say here. So it is a reaction, obviously. You're going to use your reaction resource here. So if you're planning on counterattacking or using some other reaction, consider that. But when you are attacked, before you get hit, and you saw that in the demo several times, you can attempt to charm the attacker. And if you land the wisdom saving throw, again from your intelligence spell save DC, the more you raise it, the more likely you are to land this wisdom saving throw, okay? Or if you lower their wisdom saving throw, okay? If the target succeeds though, you can't charm them. So why is it important to charm them? Because if you look right here, when you charm, you can't attack the spellcaster, and the spellcaster is going to have advantage on charisma checks, which is an out of target thing. In combat, this thing's powerful because for your reaction, if a target goes up to you, say you're the low armor class that we have here, they're going to probably target you more often than not. But then you can take a powerful enemy and say they were about to really hit you hard. You can charm them if your spell save is high enough, or you have the ways of like guaranteeing this. Then you can burn your reaction not to do damage, but to mitigate damage, to not get hit with a powerful spell. They will get the chance to go target somebody else if they can, so just keep that nuance in mind. Level 10 though is Split Enchantment, and I think this is one of those, like, all the subclasses for wizards, right? You pick at level 2. And I've talked about deep investment. This is one of those deep investments where if I'm going to pick a class and say a subclass, especially because when you pick a subclass, there are other subclasses within that class you have chosen, that if you're going to go 10 levels deep into it, I would like to make sure you've incentivized me. Otherwise, I'll go multi-class or a different subclass or just screw this class altogether. When I see investment pay off like this, this is one of those things, okay? Split Enchantment is a single target enchant spells can now target 2, okay? If you mix that by getting, say, a Bard or a way to get Vicious Mockery and Dissonant Whispers, something Wizard actually can't learn on their own through scrolls, they'd have to get it through a feat or a multi-class. Dude, this is wild. I can now cast this twice, at least 2 different targets. Okay, so you and you can now be hit by this. Okay, even better than that, I just said earlier, a level 5 spell is something that's very expensive, so to speak, right? And Hold Monster is typically a really good use of it, especially in big encounters, but then you're going to burn one of your very valuable level 5s for the rest of the long rest period. Okay, so to get double value out of it, right? And Hold Monster can hold just about any target rather than Hold Person, which can only hold 2. But here's another good value to it. So not only is that level 5 kind of added up, where I can grab the robot and somebody else, or 2 robots, and really control the situation, right? But you're also going to see value from, like, level 2 spells, right? Can now target 2 for 1, right? This would normally be the case with upcasting Hold Person. Now it can target 2 people, right? But now your cheapo Hold Person level 2 spell can target 2 people, okay? So I just wanted to highlight that. We're going to go into some more analysis later. But what about the Charm spell? Let's talk about Charm the spell. So Charm the spell is a level 1 charm, okay? Again, now that you have the level 10, you can actually charm 2 people, okay? Now, what it does is it's a level 1 spell slot and action, right? So in combat, you could charm a humanoid and prevent it from attacking you, just like our reaction, right? But outside of combat, you'll typically see it when you're talking to somebody, right? Let's see. If you went up to this guy, right, you'll get like a dialogue option down here if you need to convince somebody. You could convince them with advantage. You'd have 2 d20s, and that could actually really boost your ability to get through a dialogue check, especially in honor mode. Okay, so it's an action and it's a level 1 spell slot. It only targets humanoid targets, and you gain advantage on dialogue checks outside of combat. But if you're already in combat, enemies are already going to have advantage against being charmed against this spell. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It is a wisdom saving throw. And again, we're getting it from the wizard side of things. There's no scroll for it, so make sure you pick it up, by the way. If you want to use this for your enchantment wizard, you can't learn this in a scroll. But it is a level 1, okay? It is an enchantment spell, so we can double it up. And on top of that, it could potentially keep your butt safe early on in Act 1 or 2 if you're using it wisely in combat. But again, it's going to be hard to land this wisdom saving throw if your spell save's not high enough, and since enemies have advantage. Where this really is powerful is outside of combat. But if you upcast it, you can also get more targets, so just keep that in mind. And then your double target spells, also your level 10 ability also benefits it. Anyway, let's actually talk about the enchantment spells. Obviously, you have Charm. Let's talk about this a little bit outside of combat. The good thing about Charm is you probably already have friends if you're going with a build like this, but Charm has the utility to be used in combat and outside of combat, right? Or if you didn't have the friends cantrip, this isn't gonna, like, how do I say this? So in combat, this could be defensive utility. Outside of combat, this could be helpful from even getting into combat with anybody, right? It's kind of trumped a little bit by the fact that friends or enhance ability, or eagle and stuff like that, but just know, like, okay, it's still a spell that's somewhat useful in the earlier game, and then later on you can target 2 targets, right? If you've run out of reaction to use your innate charm, just know what it could be used for. I'm not highlighting that it's the best thing ever, but if you don't have your reaction now, or you could be more preventive early on from getting hit, you could charm somebody ahead of time. And because you have that level 10, you could target 1, 2, even more. And then I actually don't know all the combos with charm, but I know there's a few out there. Okay, look at what about Tasha's Hideous Laughter. So this is a very powerful level 1 spell slot that's commonly neglected because people don't always understand what it does. If you target anyone with intelligence 5 or more, all right, the target can try and shake off this effect, but for 10 turns, as long as you concentrate, they're basically out of the fight. Okay, so at level 10, you can still reutilize your level 1 spell slots by targeting with this basic level 1 spell slot. You get 2 targets out of it, and if your spell save's high enough or they have disadvantage enough, right, you can control the battlefield really easily, right, with these conservative level 1 spell slots. Or at level 2, I believe upcasting, I don't know if upcasting really gets a benefit out of this, right? Upcasting doesn't grant anything, right? So since it doesn't upcast to more targets anyway, at least you're getting more value with Tasha's later on, which typically kind of drops off for full spellcasters, right? This reinvigorates its spell usage. But yeah, overall, if you make a target prone, right, and they can't get up, they're effectively out of the fight. And then when someone's prone, they can't use legendary actions on honor mode and a few other things. So this thing's very powerful in the early game, even into the mid game, right? Madness is something I want to learn to use a lot more, but since it's not even, it's a concentration spell, right? But what it can do is basically make your targets, again, effectively useless, because if you cast Madness on somebody, right, they're just basically going to look at every other target or any other person on the field as an enemy. So they'll start attacking blindly and randomly at anybody. Okay, so this is another control option that can be really powerful. And let's see, if we upcast this, what's the benefits here? Upcasting doesn't grant anything. So instead of your level 1s, you would use Tasha's. Your level 2s, you'd be using your Crown of Madness. And you can see for something like Enchantment Wizard, these retain value all throughout, especially once you get level 10, because then you're getting the double effect. You're having more control for lower spell slots, not blowing the higher stuff. What about Otto's Dance? So Otto's Dance, from what I know from using it, is always going to land, but it's not always going to keep its effect. This thing has been known to like destroy bosses like Raphael in the late game, but what's powerful about it is if they don't, they have disadvantage in attack rolls, and it effectively, just like Tasha, kicks them out of the fight as long as this condition's maintained and you have the concentration, right? This is absolutely worth it for a level 6 spell, but don't be blowing it on anybody. But the fact, again, that you can cast it on 2 people, hilariously make them dance, and now they have disadvantage against like almost everything you throw at them, and it always initially hits, is very powerful. Okay, so hold person spells. Oh yeah, we all know about the hold persons. I think I've went over this enough. Like I said, getting more value out of your level 2 hold person. But if you didn't know, when you hold person, what happens is, I'll demonstrate this one straight up. So we're gonna hold you and hold you. Okay. And when you go up to them in melee range, even with ranged spell attacks, ranged bows, right, you always get the hit and you always get the crit. So now, you know, Minthara, who doesn't have a melee build, who would typically not do much in the melee range, let alone hit, always hits and always crits. Okay? So you can see how powerful that can be. And again, the value of getting somebody, reload. The value of getting your level 2 now targets 2 people, we get more like reignited value for our lower level spells, but also your powerful level 5 hold monster, which doesn't just target humanoids, targets just about anything. Now that targets 2 people, so double the value, almost like getting 2 level 5 spell slots out of it. Okay, Dominate can be really powerful because, again, not only like Tasha's or Otto, you're actually going to put them on your team as long as you hold concentration on them. Hey, now they're your buddy. Okay, so you would have even more people on your team, and once they die, who cares, right? They were your enemies anyway. So Dominate can be extremely powerful. Let's look at it real quick. There is a Dominate animal as well, but we don't get it on Wizard, and there's no scroll for it, alright? But yeah, make a humanoid fight alongside you. There's a creature version of this too, so you could also dominate animals. But yeah, Wisdom saving throw against your Dominate, and allies cannot be dominated. But for 10 turns, they will follow and fight alongside the caster as if they were an ally. Pretty wild, okay? Where I find it even more fun is you might be sitting, okay, control's really good. I guess I'll use this on a team with some front lines like Lae'zel here, our monk. okay? And that's true, but if you do know how to get something like Vicious Mockery and Whispers, which isn't normally available to a wizard, and you might have to invest into something like Charisma, now you too can be offensively powerhouse, especially with something like the Resonance Stone. If we open this up. So what this does is everybody gets steeped in bliss in a 30-foot radius of the holder, including your allies and yourself. But now you'll have advantage on physical checks, but the real important part here is disadvantage on saving throws. And for our psychic damage, everybody in that radius becomes double damage, weakness to vulnerable to psychic damage, right? So Vicious Mockery can now kind of hit like a truck, while adding a debuff like Mental Fatigue if you build for it. But just overall, just know that these are enchantment spells as well, so we can get some benefits there. And then Heroism. So honestly, I've been liking this more and more, especially if you can get more value out of it. Now that we can target 2 people at a time, if you're in a fight where you know you're going to deal with something like Frightened, which could be a real headache, especially in the early game, dropping your weapon, having your idiots run around and not actually fight, and then costing you an honor mode run. What you can do is now target 2 targets, right? We can use Heroism on 2 targets with a level 1 spell. It's going to give you a little temp HP, right? But it's also going to keep you from being frightened, which is the real value there, as long as you're holding concentration. And again, it's upcastable. We could have even more targets, +1 thanks to +10 enchantment school, okay? There we go. So, I think I've gone over a lot of my analysis, but let's cover some things here. Hypnotic Gaze, in my opinion, is really powerful, and it's a sad thing that it's only long rest and not maybe short rest, but I'm not here to criticize the game makers or anything. Just try to use this to basically lock out a very important target in a fight, like a boss fight or a really important counter. Like I said, I come from more of like honor mode difficulty settings where you don't get to take things back, it's on a single save, and so knowing how to control the battlefield, using really powerful options like this are super helpful. But for a level 2 dip, it's not the craziest thing. You're not missing out on it on a multi-class. What I do find really powerful is this reaction charm, especially for casters. This thing is so cool. So I'm pretty sure it only ever works off of your intelligence, but if you were already dipping into wizard to get this, probably already using scrolls and intelligence anyway. But you could be very creative with dipping into the level 6 to get this. But yeah, having a way of mitigating or stopping damage, and then I again want to know more combos about charm, because maybe that you could follow it up with something crazy. But absolutely, the level 10 deep investment into this subclass and wizard in general is so worth it, because you still get 2 levels to get something like Vicious Mockery and Dissonant Whispers. Then you have all these control spells that get double target. Crazy. Like, I love this. I might be playing this specific build in a future run because I found, like, I took a little deep dive into this, all right? The defensive value, like I said, of charm in general, but really that reaction charm, I find that really good, especially control, holding people, using Tasha's, getting reutilization on like being efficient with your spell slots like that. That's big defensive value. And outside of combat, you can see that I invested in charisma, but also intelligence has a part to play here, right? So what we can do is actually take actor and get very high charisma rolls and even proficiency from the start in persuasion, and we can dominate dialogue checks because of charm, friends, just having the dialogue checks, right? So this is crazy. If you know how to abuse dialogue checks, you can still get experience for your characters, but also avoid very difficult fights, right? And especially in intelligence, I believe, and I'd like to do a little more research on this, but with a wizard, you can learn the Detect Thought spell. And so you can combo in dialogue checks if you're running this, right? If you run the concentration on Detect Thoughts, what you can do is combo it with your intelligence stat and your charisma dialogues, and you might be able to do even more easy dialogue checks to keep you out of fights, okay? So, offensive potential, big, right? Like, just being able to cast Hold Person, Tasha's, right? Building for that is wild, okay? But later on, you could definitely, by the end of Act 2, you will get the resources you need, like the Mental Fatigue gloves and ring, okay? And the Resonance Stone I was talking about, that 30-foot radius, okay? So you could definitely be offensive with attacks like Vicious Mockery. Turning this little cantrip into a monster is one of my favorite things. But Dissonant Whispers is a nuke you can do at level 4, 5, and 6 when you double the damage of this, it gets pretty wild, and then it'll cause Frighten too, so that's actually really good value. You're a control freak, no doubt about it. I think the demo really spoke to that well enough. And then you have double Mockery, which I love. It also means you have double Dissonant Whispers. But the reason this is so strong right here, Mockery and Whispers, psychic damage, not only is it a great element damage type, but it has one of the best debuffs in the game, which is Mental Fatigue. And I'll try and highlight that real quick for you, why it's so good. So since a lot of these spells are going to be, these control spells operate on the mental saving throw, namely Wisdom, if you hit them with Mental Fatigue, you'll not only do that psychic damage, but you'll stack up a -1 penalty to Wisdom and the others, right, to their saving throws. And since you're probably already using that Resonance Stone to get steeped in Bliss, they also have disadvantage. That's why you keep seeing me get 99% chance to hold monster, because I have a high spell save DC anyway, which means I'm going to land Vicious Mockery, do damage, double it up, and then add a debuff, and they have disadvantage. You're pretty much always landing your control spells. So this is a huge factor in building for this, in my opinion, okay? So that Resonance Stone is what I was talking about, that gave that psychic damage and disadvantage on Wisdom throws, okay? Crazy wombo combo. Cambion, I love this, okay? Why did I not go for all the Act 3 stabs? Because if you bring Will into your team, the Infernal Rapier gives you a free level 6 conjuration spell, the Plenar Ally. You can't choose which one, but the Cambion's the one we want anyway. And honestly, I gotta say, the more I look into Cambion, they're very powerful. They're awesome to have on your team, right? And because of this very little, like underappreciated combo, all it takes is just going into your inventory, right clicking, drink Cambion, right? So he'll use his bonus action like a normal character, and now you have 2 actions for 3 turns. Well, if you have a character like Minthara here, who's a control freak, right, you could actually add more control to your team, right, and then land a draining kiss combo and do absurd damage. Double this up right now, okay? And if it doesn't kill them, right, it still just does tons of damage, like whatever. It's still operating on the same Wisdom's, you know, saving throws and whatnot. Not to mention Fiendish Charm is a bit of a defensive ability. This is probably his strongest damage, and he's no slouch on the defensive effort either. Look at this. Okay, so really cool little thing. I don't know all the combos, but these are some pretty powerful ones I did know about, like the Cambion in this, and I was like, dude, this is cool as hell. So my highest recommendation, as far as I know, is actually, here's your best weapon, just because of the Cambion combo if you're building something like this. Okay, so I don't know all the combos, and I'm not sure about any more combos with Charm and how you can multi-class with this. I do know with patch 8 we're getting some new subclasses like the College of Glamour for bards. It's definitely something to look into with this. But yeah, I definitely want to see some comments, see if you can tell me. And I've been wanting to make a witch build. I can't believe it was right under my nose, but it's thanks to you guys having comments and making suggestions. I was able to make the witch build. I've been like theorizing in my head. It was right here the whole time. It's crazy. Okay, so build time. Just one build for today. I'm going to explain it. I'll do a little more demonstration, but I got to end this video. Okay, cut it a little shorter than usual. Minthara, this is the Absolute Switch, or however you want to take the theming here, but I went Wizard 1 first, because when you take Bard next, you're going to get your spell modifier for scrolls and whatnot as Charisma. You don't have to do it that way, but I did it for that reason. And I took Bard early because as I level up, I really want the Bard stuff on my team, especially Song of Rest. The earlier you put this on your team, the better it is, right? So go three levels, the first 3 levels, 1 Wizard, then Bard. And then after that, at level 4, you could figure this is your feat now. You're going to take your Enchantment Subclass, you're going to pick up Hypnotic Gaze, and from there you'll just keep going into this witch-like build, okay? So the stats focus here, I'm actually going to do it this format from now on, alright? So I want you to know when you start your character, the reason I'm taking 17 charisma and 16 intelligence is because I know this character early on for the rest of the game is probably going to be very dialogue oriented, especially in honor mode where I can't reload dialogue and I really want to have a face of the party. So charisma right off the bat, and I took 17 because I know my first feat is going to be actor, which gives me 1 charisma, so I'd already be up to 18 charisma, okay? Also, later on, I'm gonna be able to utilize my psychic damage as a powerhouse of damage, okay? So intelligence 16, because obviously, duh, we're using wizard spells, and they have to operate off of intelligence, okay? So we're going to keep 16, and later on we'll get a feat that brings it up to 18. And we'll be getting gear like this also raises spell save, this raises spell save, this raises spell save, and so on and so forth. And I even have the Battle Mage Elixir, okay? So we know we're going to use wizard spells for a lot of our casting, and also maybe detect thoughts. I want to test this out, but we'll see if this is actually useful. All right, so feats, actor, 18 charisma, and a dialogue master, right? So like I said, you'd be at 17. This actor feat is amazing on charisma characters, especially if they're going to do any talking at all. It's going to give you 1 charisma, so you should start out at 17. And now you have expertise, which is +4 times 2, your proficiency bonus. This is 8 more to deception and 8 more to performance. And since you have charisma on your character, you have a whopping 12 and 12 added to your rolls for dialogue, okay? And you'll see a lot of deception rolls, but you'll also see some pretty impressive performance rolls, especially if you're a bard, okay? Also, later on, you'll take 2 intelligence because you want to match your, you want these kind of evened out if you're going to use them both for spell save DC, okay? For gear, the Battle Mage Elixir honestly brings us up high enough that we may not even need the gear. At 20 spell save DC, it's pretty much good enough, especially with mental fatigue and disadvantage. But we do have the potent robes. Oh, also I treat elixirs kind of like a piece of gear since you can swap them out, but they are consumed on use for the long rest, okay? Potent robe, what this does is takes your charisma and adds it to your cantrip. I just do this so I can get more whopping power out of Vicious Mockery, make it attack heavy, like pretty damaging, but also have that mental fatigue in there, okay? So charisma adds to your damage. That would be +4 damage to Vicious Mockery. When we double that damage, that's +8, and since you're hitting 2 targets, you're effectively getting 16 damage out of this, okay? So Brain Drain Gloves. All right, Brain Drain Gloves and the ring, this is a natural combo, especially if you're using Mockery or Dissonant Whispers, but anytime a target fails a saving throw, they get 2 mental fatigue, which is that negative wisdom saving throw. But if you do psychic damage, you'll also get the same effect for 2 turns. So when you use Vicious Mockery or Whispers between these two, they'll pretty much always fail the save DC, and they'll be taking psychic damage. So they're getting 4 turns. -4 to wisdom saving throws is huge, okay? Mental fatigue is amazing. But yeah, Face Semblance, what this does is it just once you can get this, it counters your disadvantage that's coming from Steeped in Bliss, so you don't get punished for using this in your radius, okay? But also, you're probably going to get this around the same time you're getting the Resonance Stone, basically start of Act 3. So these come in handy. You can get all the pieces around the same time. Just know with a lot of the mental fatigue and resonance stone stuff, it's more of a late game build kind of thing. Doesn't mean you're not powerful before then, but you won't be the offensive attacker until later when your build evolves, okay? Obviously we have gear for spell save like this, and the natural. This thing's great because now you can actually attack with your mental stat, but it also raises your spell save DC, so that's nice. And then we're really just using it for that Cambion because that's freaking crazy. But yeah, we have some armor class. Obviously we don't have the best armor class, but I took the boots right here for armor class, the ring for saving throw armor class. Pretty vital. But yeah, Mockery and Whispers adds that damage debuff. You can do hold spells. Tasha is very, especially the more you level up, you're like, I don't need my level 1s anymore, they're useless. Well, now you can use 2 of these for the price of 1. Same thing with Auto. It's the same thing in reverse. For using my level 6 spell, I get 2 targets out of it. That's actually really good value. Same thing with Dominate, level, I believe it's a level 5 spell. So now you can dominate 2 targets, really shifting the tides of war for you. And then Manual Charm. You can always charm somebody if you think you need it, or defensive value, or you're going to go, I guess, talk to somebody, but just keep that in mind. And then the class action, like I said, locking down a target. So one more time, I'm just going to kind of show you some of the tricks here. Let's go into combat. Like I said, my favorite thing is she's holding the Resonance Stone, so everybody in a 30-foot radius. Let's take... I just love this combo. That's so amazing to me. And here we go. Alright. Lae'zel herself can do psychic damage, but we're not all about that just yet. The mental fatigue, like I said, I can't stress this enough. So if you had something like the Cambion, who can just drink a potion, or you could haste him ahead of time, right? He can be like, okay, you're charmed, right? And then you get a Draining Kiss, and he's dead. That's wild. freaking 60 damage on a Cambion. And it's actually super accurate and reliable. Granted, it's got to be like humanoid targets, but, you know, Act 3 is going to be freaking chock full. Okay. And then obviously, if you can lock somebody down, the power of using your like bodyguard here, your marshals, are going to love you. Also, if somebody tries to target you, and you could abuse this a little bit, assuming there's not a lot of targets, they're going to come after whoever has the lowest armor class typically. And so if they come after you and they could be charmed, you could be like, no, hit that guy. No, I don't want to be hit. Screw you. Yeah. And then, oh, you missed me. That's great. So something like the Kashigo counter, get a free attack when it's not even her turn. It's just crazy. Oh, it's crazy what you could do with this. Like, I'm actually in love with this build because it's very similar to a Warlock I did recently in a run. Alright, and then something I didn't highlight here, but Phantasmal Killer is a 10-turn, like, damage over time spell, but because we're using psychic stuff, this could be a real killer. Like, if I drop it on somebody, it's sad that it's not an enchantment, but it could actually, you know, just absolutely bomb somebody. Again, let's space out because volley's lame when I'm not using it. Go over here. And again, what we could be doing is using our low-level spell slots to just eliminate these volley users from the fight for a little bit, right? They get to laugh, we get to laugh at them, everybody's laughing, having a great time, right? Okay, and then we can stun something with our other marshal, just get the control of the situation. So just between these two characters, we have a lot of damage and control. I can stop that guy from doing anything. I can beat the crap out of this guy, he's dead. Cool. Alright. And again, let's do my favorite combo. And because they failed a saving throw, they didn't take psychic damage, but now they're out of the fight and they get mental fatigue. So that means we can once again have a higher chance at charming them. Oh, saved them. That's fine. All right, maybe we can get this time. How about you? Nope, they both got it. All right, so mental fatigue didn't pay out there, but they're still out of the fight. He's stunned. We get to sit here. How about I just give you a soul branding? Minnie's a pretty good character because of stuff like that. Alright, let's come back over here. I'm gonna lock you out of the fight again. Cool. Alright, and when anyone's prone, I believe they get advantage against them on melee range, okay? So that's why I can just walk up to somebody and absolutely destroy them. Right? But also if you're prone, dexterity saving throws, like spells with dexterity saving throws are actually going to be easier to hit with, right? So look at that. Oh, okay, so you're charmed now, huh? And you're prone, so I should be able to hit a little bit easier. No? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go for the combo I love. There we go. You're charmed, and then we'll pop you. Pop! You're dead. And then, of course, what can we do here? What can we do here? I should really show off Hypnotic Gaze. I'll do that. Hold on. But... yeah, I'll just... don't think you can do this. Can we try this? Can't be charmed. Okay, so again, charming is a little bit different, but we can always hold monster, and if there was another target here, I could hold them too. There you go. There we go. And then that means he takes critical damage, critical damage. Pop, 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 pop. He's dead. Rut roll. Wait, the hell? Okay, he's thinking about dying, I guess. Okay, buddy. Thank you. Gives us enough time to fly away and look cool. Oh no! I'm maimed! Quickly! Heal me! Okay, good. Ooh. And then we can come over here. So, we can hit you over here. Just get this in before the end. Come here. Come here, buddy. Mm-hmm. Charm you. Ooh. Now remember, if I miss these, like, reactionary charms, I can't use it on anybody for the, like, until the long rest. So just keep that in mind. I just keep nailing it because I have the setup correctly, okay? What I can do is get a speed potion, right? So if there was, like, a really important target, like Murphy here, he's just so dangerous. What I can use is this class action, and if I have the high saving throw, he can't block this. Now, Hypnotic Gaze. And so Murphy is now just stuck for 2 turns, cannot do anything. We'll skip. He's charmed. Okay. And if I need to reset it, because he has 2 more turns to go on this, right? I can just keep using this and resetting the turns back to 2.
Let me strike.
Right, so he has 1 more turn. So if I want to, I just keep resetting it. Now it's back to 2. Okay? And this won't end until he takes damage, I believe, right? So you can maintain it, and then the condition ends upon taking damage. So when you're ready and you've finished everybody else off, you can just drop a nuke on him. Goodbye. Oh wait, that was a level 1. Alright, well in that case, let's just run him through. And then Lae'zel, go ahead, finish him. Or just punch the dirt. That's cool. Alright, like I said. Okay, so that's gonna do it. Alright. Gone on long enough. I definitely want to look more into this, but I also want to see what the comments are going to be. I think this freaking setup right here is going to be in a new playthrough. But yeah, how do you level this stuff? Well, come watch the streams. I know you can get something similar in the last stream with the fun guy, the Spore Druid run. We did a Psychic Warlock, and this is where I'm largely getting my experience from, so you can see how I kind of evolved that over the course of about half of the game. It got way more powerful in Act 3 because of the Vicious Mockery stuff, but just come in general because we have more fun in the streams and more people are chatting, having fun, watching stuff, giving me good ideas or hints and tricks, right? But I love playing the game on Honor Mode, and I do this because I want to encourage people to play it too. Can't take things back on Honor Mode, and honestly, if you just know your stuff, you could do really powerful, crazy things, and you'll be like, that's so badass, oh my god. And you can make any character you can really want in this game. It's why it's so addicting for me, and I want to see you like do your best in Honor Mode, beat it and be like, yeah, I beat it with this like badass monk or this crazy like control witch. Oh man. But I also like answering any kind of questions or comments. You guys honestly teach me a thing or two, and like I said, thanks for the requests for the video. I love getting them because they fire me up to learn something I didn't even know. So who's our sponsors? You are. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, seriously. I've had member support lately. It's as cheap as possible as I can make it. It helps support the channel. Lately I've gotten a few supporters, so thank you so much to you guys. I love you. But honestly, the best support is just the fact that you had fun watching, and hopefully I got helped you out with something with the game so you can go enjoy it better. So until next time, I appreciate you guys. I'll have another video out in a bit, but maybe come see the stream later today. Till then, guys, have a good one.